and welcome to another video. I am aboard my noble steed.
Said noble steed.
And today, finally, we are getting a saddle fitting for a new saddle. Da-na, na 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 na. So my saddle fitter is on his way with a handful of new saddles to try on Nelly. And for me, if you watched our video in August where I had a complete meltdown about my saddle, you will know that we organised to get the saddle fitter out. And due to some, well, many unforeseen circumstances, it has been since August that we have been awaiting this. It is now the end of November. So, since August I've been riding in this lovely Albion interchangeable flap, I can't remember what that's called.
Interchangeable
Adjuster?
flap. Adjuster, it is an adjuster.
Albion adjuster, which fits her pretty well. She does have to wear shims, and sometimes in winter she needs the shims added because she drops off a bit in the winter. However, this isn't mine, this is my yard owner's, and she probably wants it back at some point. So we're on the hunt for our own saddle that adjusts to her and is suitable for me. Hello and welcome to VoiceOver Ailey. I thought it was important to start with some clips of me in the current saddle that I'm riding in, just so you can see a bit of a difference. Now, it's important to say that this was the beginning of the session, and obviously to try on new saddles I had to stop, get off, untack, retack, remount and go again. And you'll see in the upcoming clips that Nelly did not vibe with this type of session. Which originally did make us worry that she didn't enjoy the saddles, but at the very end we do go back into this saddle and you will see that actually she just can't be effed with the session after the saddle comes off for the first time. But yeah, this is her going how she would usually go. Here we go, first saddle.
Do you feel your seat bones? Is it uncomfy?
No, it just feels hard.
Yeah, it's just putting you in a different position.
What do you think?
I know you're going to like this style. It's just trying to find the style that works.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm stepping forward.
Yeah, so you're level.
Yeah.
And you'll feel that when I put these shims in the back of that other saddle. You'll understand these better, even if you just do a wee cross pull.
Yeah.
So just give me a walk, trot, canter when you're ready.
So as requested by the saddle fitter, I went for a walk, trot and canter in these saddles. So it would be good to say that the type of saddle that I am looking for, or was looking for, was a semi-jumping saddle that I could use for flat work. It was the first time I'd really sat in a more jumping style saddle.
So how do you feel? Do you feel safe? Just different? Unsafe?
A wee bit unsafe. it just feels very bouncy. And it definitely took some getting used to. I do watch back my riding and think, holy moly, but this wasn't even the worst of the saddles I tried on.
And so this one was a K2, is that right? Is this a K2, is that right?
Yeah, it's K2 style. It's one I've done myself.
Oh, okay.
It was quite different for me to try these kind of saddles, and as I was going around I was greatly regretting not being able to find my spurs and not bothering to borrow anybody else's. I worried at first that it was the actual saddle that was causing Nelly to be a little bit reluctant. You'll see here that she was a little bit reluctant to canter. I think part of that was down to me not being used to the saddle and not being used to where it held my leg, and partly because she thought she was done 10 minutes ago and now she's got a whole new saddle on and she's been asked to start again. But I quite like this one. It was a bit firm under my seat bones, as you heard me say. but I didn't get on and feel completely unsafe. So then we geared up to go for a little jump. Our school's not quite settled enough with the new surface to jump high, so we just put up a little cross pole just to get a feel for it. Nelly was pretty shook that there was a jump put up in the school finally. I found cantering in the saddle really difficult. I found there was a lot of seat and my whole bum was just sliding backwards and forwards, but it was alright. I would say a good start for my saddle finding journey. On to saddle number 2. So this was a Bates saddle. I knew it was being sold for £2,800, which I will not lie, was way out with my budget. However, my saddle fitter thought it would be good for me to try a mono flap jumping saddle just to see if I liked it.
You're too long.
Too long.
Yeah. So
I have to be able to do dressage in it, that's the thing.
And as you heard, I was riding too long for it to feel comfortable, but I was saying if I do buy a saddle, I need to be able to do flat work and jumping in it. It needs to be a dual purpose. So we stopped and I got my stirrups a hole shorter to see if that helped. And it helped a little, but I won't lie, I did not like this saddle at all. I felt like I couldn't balance. Nellie's already so narrow in her top half of her body in front of you that the narrowness and lack of knee block that this Bates gave me meant I felt like I was going to tip over the front of her at the slightest moment. And with Nellie being a little bit of a quirky horse and prone to a little bit of a dirty swivel, it wasn't something I wanted. That was me saying I've never been so glad to not like a saddle, because I won't lie, if I had liked it, I don't know if I could have afforded it, but I probably would have made it happen.
Right, we'll come to rest and come off.
Huh?
Come to rest and come off.
I like this one.
You're not allowed to say that till you've ridden in it at least once round the circuit.
Me just looking at them going, that one's pretty, have that one.
I think you saw that colour the first time, was it?
Yeah.
Like the colour of it.
Yeah.
How rude of them. I am not somebody who judges a book by its cover, but I did really like this saddle. We did try on another saddle before this one, but it wasn't right for Nellie, so we didn't ride in it because it's important and it's good for her and for me.
Do you feel safe?
Yeah. She's not the most active, but I think she has just gone a bit off the corner.
For the beginning of starting with this saddle, Nellie had gone completely off the boil. This was her 4th tack up by now, and she was like, Jesus, not more work. So I was working extremely hard. You can see my little legs going, and I really wished I had had spurs because she's not that reactive to a schooling whip. But I just did lots of transitions in quite quick succession to try and get her back on side, and as you can see, she slowly settles back down into working rhythm, which semi-resembles how she was in her original saddle. I would say the canter still lacks a bit of purpose. But out of all the saddles, this was the one I felt I could school in the best. Will it take practice? 100%, because it's definitely not what I'm used to compared to what I've been riding in. But out of them all, this was the most promising for me for the flat work, in combination with the jumping element. This is me going for a little jump in it. Again, I think the canter's lacking something. I did feel like there was a lot of seat underneath me, a lot of flat seat. But he then came forth and said that this one was actually the only one that was an 18-inch seat, which apparently suits me best because of my extremely long femur. So who knew I had a long femur? I always thought I had quite short legs, but there you are. Apparently my hip to knee is much longer than the average person, so I needed a bigger seat. Just to make sure that she wasn't a bit lackluster because she didn't enjoy the saddles, we thought we would just quickly pop her back into her original saddle, and I did a little walk trot canter in the edge of school. I won't leave it all in, but basically, as you can see, yeah, she was no better going back in her original saddle. She was still pretty bored. So yes, which saddle do you think I went for? I think it's pretty obvious, but hopefully once it's been checked over, that'll be the one for me.
And that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a comment, like and subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you for the next one. Bye!